All right, well, I just want to say welcome and hello, and we're so excited that you're here with us today in our Wednesday webinar. We are talking about campaign basics today. My name is Jen. It's nice to meet you and have you with us here today. And I have Bianca with me here today. She is going to be answering questions throughout. So she's going to be talking with you in the chat, answering any questions that you have as we go along, and dropping pertinent information for those who are attending live with us today. If you're catching us on a YouTube replay, thank you for being here. We hope that you can learn something great. So I'm going to start by just having Bianca talk briefly about why campaigns, Bianca. Why do we want to use campaigns? What makes them great?
That's such a good question, because we have a couple of options of automating messages to our customers, our clients, our prospects. One is just a scheduled message, right? You just want to send one message to one person or 100 people, and you can schedule it for sometime in the future. That's just one message. Now, there are so many scenarios where you need to reach out to people multiple times, a series of messages. And why would we want to do that? Well, let me tell you, how many times do you respond to somebody the first time they reach out to you? Sometimes not even the second or the third. The funny thing is, the magic number I found in marketing, it's like 5 to 7 messages. So if you're trying to get somebody to an action, you need them to do something. The industry standard is 7 times. So I'm not telling you to bug people 7 times. I'm just telling you, you won't hear from somebody on the first or the second touch point. People get busy. When they say the fortune is in the follow-up, it truly is. There's money there waiting for people who will consistently reach out. And so that's what campaigns do. It's a consistent, dependable way to reach out and drip a message to people. And it doesn't always have to be trying to get them to buy something or bring somebody into an event. There are other things that you'll want to drip. Some people just do accountability or check-ins, that they want weekly a check-in. So I just want you to see the value in a campaign and how it is different than a one-off scheduled message. And it's so great when Skipio's doing that work in the background for you, and you can set it and you can forget it until they reach out to you, which they will, because your messaging is going to be so on point that you're going to engage in some great conversations with people. But Jen's going to show you how to create that and make it so it's not intimidating whatsoever.
Yeah, thanks, Bianca. It's so true. And I don't know about you, but I really intend to respond to people sometimes. I just plain don't forget. And sometimes that follow-up message is what, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to say it.
Right? We're driving, or I'm with kids or whatever. There's so many scenarios where you really can't respond, but you want to respond.
Right.
So,
yep. So let's get right into the account. Let's get right into the demonstration so that I can show you exactly what to do in the account and what to know about campaigns. Now, again, today we are going over basics of campaigns. So we have other trainings with lots of information about how to use different advanced features and things like that. We're going to cover the basics today, but rest assured those recordings and those trainings are available for you on the YouTube channel. So starting in the account, I have to plug, of course, our resource center right off the bat. Forgive me, don't forgive me, because I won't apologize. This is the best spot in the account. You really want to be familiar with this. You want to visit it often. I just want to point out to you that if you type in the word campaign here, and you'll see me talk about this in the 101 and pretty much every recording we have, you can pull up all the different articles that have any relation to campaigns. They talk about all the different ways you can use them, how to use them step by step with screenshots, which I don't know about you, but it's super important for me to see with my eyes where that is and how it works. You can find that all right here in the Resource Center and be able to look at those articles anytime when there's not a webinar or the Zoom room isn't open or something like that. You can find that information here. So that's first thing. Let's go over on this side navigation panel. We're going to click on the Campaigns tab. All right, so quickly, there are 2 different types of campaigns. There are drip campaigns and reminder campaigns. Drip campaigns are the ones we're primarily going to be talking about today. So let me just touch on reminder campaigns briefly. Reminder campaigns are specifically for use with events on the Skipio calendar. Now we have an events feature that can be created on your calendar. Let me actually just go to the calendar and show you. You can click on create event, and you can actually click on show me how to drop you into a tutorial that will show you exactly how to create create an event. Again, those reminder campaigns are specifically for use with an event, and they have to have each other. So a reminder campaign doesn't work without an event, and an event doesn't work without a reminder campaign. So those guys are BFFs, and you will not be using a reminder campaign unless you're using it with an event. So in most cases, you're going to be using a drip campaign, and that is the most commonly used type of campaign. So a campaign is just a series of scheduled messages. It can be a single message, but oftentimes it'll be multiple messages. A drip campaign, the timing for the campaign is based on when you add the contact to the campaign. So from the point that they are added to the campaign, the messaging will drip out to them according to the timing that you've set when you created the campaign. Or if you've imported the campaign from someone else, then the timing is set in there and you can adjust that if you need to. So right here, right off the bat in the campaigns tab, you will see the explanation of the two different types of campaigns. Now you will also see that your account is already populated with some generic campaigns that we've provided. I have a few extras in here because I've made some and imported some. But one of the ones that you'll see is the 2+2+2 customer follow-up. This is a process that you're very familiar with after you sell product to, especially skincare product, to a customer, that you follow up with them 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months afterwards. So this campaign in particular, I'm going to kind of show you what a campaign looks like, and then we'll talk about exactly how to make one from scratch. So this one in particular starts 15 minutes after the contact is added to it. So if I wanted to add a contact to this campaign, I would just click on Add Contacts. I would select whomever I wanted to add, or I could even select a whole group if I wanted to. And then I would confirm, scroll to the bottom and click Save. That would start that campaign messaging going out from that point. So if I did it right now, then in 15 minutes, those contacts would get that first message. Every message after the first one, the timing for it is based on the message before. So for example, on this message, it's going to go after 2 days at 2:30 p.m. So 2 days after the message before it. So you don't have to sit and calculate backwards to the very beginning of the campaign. When you're setting the timing on each message, it's just going to be based on when the message before it went out. So you can see that this one is set for 2 days, 12 days, because we want to accomplish 2 weeks, but we're basing the timing off the message before it, which was 2 days out. So 12 more days will make our 14 days, and then 46 more makes our 2 months. So that's how we got the timing for this. Now, in a campaign that already exists, if you'd like to make changes, and we suggest that any campaign that's already in your account or that you import from someone else, that you really read through the wording and make sure that it sounds like you. These ones that we put in the account are really generic, something that we designed to work for everybody, but you're going to want to tweak it and change it so that it sounds genuinely like the way you talk to people. So to do that, on any message, you'll click the arrow next to the trash can, and that's going to drop the message into an editing format, meaning that you can change the timing, you can change the text, you can change the image, you can add emojis, anything that you'd like to do. And then you can do that with each and every message. When you're finished making any edits to that message, you can click the arrow to put it up into the preview format again. And then obviously any changes that you make, you'll want to go down and click Save. All right, let's talk about how to create a campaign from scratch. So you'll go up and click on the plus sign, and we're going to select Drip Campaign. Again, this will be the most commonly used campaign for you. All right, so first we're going to give the campaign a name. I don't know. I'll recreate this one I was just working on a little bit ago, this 5 in 5 campaign. So I know that it's been really popular, especially since the pandemic hit, to do the 5 products in 5 minutes demonstrations, because those are great and quick and fast and fun. And so let's talk about maybe a campaign for that. So we'll put our campaign name in. You can put in a description if you'd like. Here it's going to give you the option to choose to tell the campaign to have a rule where the contact is removed if they send you a message. So if they reply, or removed if they call you. Now, if you have call forwarding set up, that means that anyone who calls your Skipio number, their call will be forwarded to your phone. So this would work like that too. If they got a message from you and instead of replying back, they called you, it would do the same thing. It would remove them from the campaign. So once we have the name, the description, and we've decided whether or not to use these features, we can click the plus sign. So where it says start campaign and campaign finished, that's not a button to start the campaign. It's just indicating this top is the start of the campaign. And between the start and the finish, you're going to add the messaging that you'd like to include. So we'll click the plus sign for any message that we want to put into the campaign. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to decide the timing of this first message. So let's say you can either wait minutes and then give it the number of minutes you want to wait, or you can wait days. When you wait days, you can set the delivery time to be specific and exact. And then you'll need to put in a message name for reference. And it says for reference, that's only going to be seen by you. They won't see that in the text. So that can just remind you what the text is about. Maybe this is to book the 5 and 5. So we'll wait 1 day and let's go at 10 a.m. Maybe that's when I send out my campaign and start getting those bookings. All right, then in here, we're going to type the message. You can include merge tags. Merge tags allow you to bring in information from the contact, like their first name, which personalizes the message, which is great. Let me actually just grab the, I'm actually going to go over to this one I've created already. Okay, so in here, I've just put in, hey, first name, it's my first name, so that's going to put mine in. You don't have to do that as a contact field. You know your first name, so you can just put it in there. But it might be like that because it was generic and shared with everybody. So, hey, it's me. I just started my new AK business. I need to schedule 10 no appointments in 2 weeks. I fall in love with the products. Would you be willing to connect with me? Let me share these 5 products. It's great to end a message with a question because it inspires them to answer, right? So you're asking there if they'd be willing to book and get your feedback. Then if you wanted to add more subsequent messages, you can go ahead and click the plus sign. And then again, you'll go through that same process. So you'll decide when the message is to go out. So wait minutes or wait days. And again, the timing of this second message is based on the timing before it. So it's going to go out. Let's say we did 15 minutes, okay? That means it's going to go 15 minutes after the message before it. If I say wait days, 1 day at 6:44 p.m., then it's going to go 1 day after the message before it at 6:44 p.m. Okay, so, and then every subsequent message is the same. You'll go through, you will set the timing, you will give it a name for reference, you will go ahead and put the message in, include the tags, emojis, images, whatever it is that you want to put in there. And then when you're finished, you'll click save, and that's going to save your campaign. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the basic rules that you can use on a campaign. Let's go to the First Faces example here. The First Faces campaign, we've actually enabled the setting that says remove contact from campaign if they send you a message. And let's talk about why you might use that. And then I want to show you another rule that we can use. So this first message here says it, tells them that you've started a new business, you need to have some practice spaces, and you ask them, can we connect? Let's say they don't respond. Then we've got a follow-up message that's going to go 2 days later, and it says, hey, I just want to follow up and see if you got my last message. And this is where the part that Bianca was talking about really kicks in, is these follow-up messages going out when you don't hear back from someone, and they meant to respond, or they just forgot, or for whatever reason. This message is going to go out again without you having to think about it, so that the people who didn't respond, you can follow up and see if they got the message or if they have any interest. The one thing I want to point out is to be very mindful and thoughtful about how many times you want to follow up with someone who hasn't responded and what the verbiage of that message should be. And the best thing I can tell you is to put yourself in their situation, or their position rather, and think, how many times would I want to receive a message, even if I didn't respond because I was busy? How many times before I would feel like I was being bothered, right? So be really mindful about how it comes across, what your timing should be, giving time between messages of a few days so that you're not, peppering them with a message every day or anything like that. So as you set up that message timing, just keep all that in mind. So going back to what I was talking about, that first rule, if you send out this first message and you say, when can we connect? And then they say, oh, I'm free next week. And from there, you take that conversation forward and you're going back and forth. Well, if that happens, you don't want them to get this message in 2 days that says, hey, I just want to follow up and see if you got my last message. Because then they're going to be like, we've had a whole conversation. What are you talking about? Okay. So the way we put a safeguard in is we go ahead and enable that rule up here. So remove the contact from the campaign if they send you a message, meaning if they reply to this message, no matter what they say, they're going to be taken out of the campaign and they won't get that second follow-up message. So this is great. Let's say you send this to 30 people to ask if they'll be your face, and 10 people respond and you're having conversations with them. You don't have to remember to go to the other 20 and send another message. It's already scheduled to send. But also, you won't send this to the 10 who responded because that rule was on the campaign to remove them. So you're not going to have to go in and go, okay, who responded and who didn't? I need to take them out and do this. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. So if you're setting up a campaign where you wouldn't want someone who responded to receive the following messages, make sure you enable this option. Now, there are campaigns like the 2+2+2 customer follow-up is a great example of you would not want that rule to be enabled, because no matter what they say, unless they didn't like their product and they sell it back to or return it or something, you want to follow up with them regardless, right? Because this is a check-in type of a thing where you're checking in with them 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. So no matter whether they respond or not, unless it wasn't a positive response for some reason, and in that case, you would just remove them from the campaign. But no matter what they responded with, you want to follow up with them, right? This is a check-in type of a campaign. This one is one where if they answer, no matter what they say, you don't want to send them a message that says, hey, did you get my last message? Obviously they did. So that is a good example of when you would want to use this, remove the contact from the campaign. Let's talk about the 5 and 5, and I want to show you an example of another rule you can set. Now, keep in mind that these rules at the top, think of those as like a master rule. So you can set these rules at the top, and you can set rules on individual messages. However, the campaign is going to obey the master rule first. So if you have this selected and then you set other rules on other messages, it will disregard them because it's going to obey this rule first. So it's kind of an either or scenario. You're either using these master rules to the campaign, or you're setting up more specific rules to specific messages. I'm going to show you a very specific example of why you might do that. So the 5 and 5 campaign that I set up here is literally just one message. Like I said, even though a campaign is thought of as a series of scheduled messages, sometimes it's just a single message. And the reason we would use a campaign as opposed to just scheduling an individual message, an individual scheduled message, is because of this rule feature that we're going to use here. So on this message specifically, let me just slow down here. We're in the 5 and 5 campaign. We're going to click on the arrow to drop it down into the editing format. And then I'm going to go down here where it says add rule. Here I'm going to have a few different options, and I'm not going to go over every single option and exactly what it does, but in the Resource Center, if you type in the word SMART into the search bar, you can specifically pull up the article about SMART campaigns that goes over these options in great detail. I'm going to show you just one example. So we're going to use execute the rule when the contact replies or clicks a skip link. You're not using a skip link in this scenario. So what we're focused on here is execute the rule when the contact replies. So what we're going to do is you could select to remove them from the campaign at that point. It's not relevant in this one since we only have one message, but it could be in others. And then what we're going to do here is add the contact to another group. So I created a group called 5 and 5 responded. So I want anyone who receives this campaign from me, who responds, whether they say yes or no, whatever the case may be, I want to add them to this group so that just in a moment, I can click on that group and see all of the either customers, or they might be referrals or leads that have replied. So if they reply to this campaign at all, it's going to automatically add them to this group when they reply. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. And then that rule exists on this message specifically. You also could have them added to a different campaign. So you can do something like they reply with an expression. Maybe the expression is yes. Then you could add them to a campaign that's a campaign that helps them book the appointment. So you can see there's so many ways you can use these smart rules, but just to stick with this really simple, this really basic use of it. Here, when the contact is replying, we're having them added to another group. That way, if we sent this out to 100 customers, we can quickly just talk to the ones who replied or just deal with the ones who replied and kind of see who we need to follow up with there. So that's another example of using a rule on a specific message. So again, you have the master rules here at the top, and then you can set rules on the individual message. That's all I'm going to cover on that today because I want to keep it super basic. So if you have more questions or want to learn more about those smart rules, definitely go into the Resource Center and look at that article. And again, we do have other videos on some of these features. The last thing I want to talk about is how to share a campaign and how to import a campaign. So you can share campaigns with other Skipio users and you can import campaigns from other Skipio users. We also have campaigns for you available in the Resource Center, of course. So you'll find those under campaigns. And these are campaigns that are already put together that you can put right into your account. But let's talk about how you can share or import from other users. So if I'd like to share my 5 in 5 campaign, I can go ahead and go to Package Campaigns. So I click the plus sign up here, Package Campaigns. I'm going to call it 5 in 5. I can put a description if I'd like to. It's going to automatically generate an import code. You can put your own in there if you'd like to, and as long as it's not in use already, it will allow you to do that. And then let's see, we need to select the campaign. So if you just start to type anything, it's going to pull up any campaigns that have that in it. So we want the 5 in 5, and you can put multiple campaigns in a package. I'm just going to do this single one. So I click on Package Campaigns. And then over here on the left, you'll see under campaign packages, close that it's here. So if I want to share that with someone, I just need to copy this code and send them the code. Then the way that they will bring it into their account, or the way you can bring one into your account, is click on that same plus sign and click on Import Campaign. There you'll paste the code and click import. Now I already have that one in there, so it's not working because it's not going to duplicate it there. So you can do that to share the campaign and to bring it into the account. So again, this plus sign is where it's at on the campaigns tab. That's where you create the campaign. That's where you can import a campaign. That's where you can package campaigns to share. All right, so that's all we're going to talk about with campaigns today. We are going to open it up to a Q&A here at the end and see if there's anything, any questions that anybody has. Bianca?
I think we've grabbed all the questions that we had, things about merge tags, and they happen to come in right when you were talking about merge tags. And this is an interesting question. Why wouldn't you click both the text message and call? She was wanting to know a scenario of when you would, when you're moving one from a campaign.
You can. It just depends on whether that's totally up to you. Some people don't have call forwarding enabled, so it's not relevant to them. So it just depends on what your specific scenario is, or whether a phone call might not. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I can't think of an example right off the top of my head why you would do one and not the other. To be honest with you, the option to remove them if they call is a newer feature. So it's something that I haven't seen as many scenarios for, but if you have that call forwarding, you might want to do that because let's say the person calls you, you still don't want them to get that follow-up message. So you may want to set both in that instance.
Yeah, perfect. How do you get the code number to share? This is a really good one when you're creating a campaign package.
So down, let me share again real quick. So on your campaigns tab, at the bottom on the left, there'll be campaign packages if you created any. And then you can click on the package and then you'll just copy and paste. Oops, I lost it there. You'll just copy that code. And then that's the one that they need to import. So if you created it and you don't remember what it is, you didn't make like a special one or anything like that, you can literally just click on that package down there and then you can copy and paste the code. It does auto generate a code for you, or you can put in a custom code. Like you could call it 5 in 5. And I think as long as that's not in use somewhere else, it'll allow you to do that. I've done custom ones before. Usually I just let it generate it for me though.
And see, I like custom codes, especially if I'm packaging them for somebody else. I'll make it relevant to whatever the campaign's about.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a great idea. Any other questions that we didn't get answered? Just looking through.
Yeah, I think we've got it.
Okay, great.
Training. Thank you so much, Jen.
Yeah, somewhere else, but just for me. I'm not sure I understand that last one from Marla.
So the question, if it's used anywhere, it would have to be unique.
Right.
Because of the way Skipio imports. If it's a Skipio code that somebody else has created, you can't use the same code.
Right.
So you could name, make it unique to you if you want to create your own.
Yeah. Yep. You just want to be unique with it. It's kind of like a username on a platform or something. If someone else is using it, it won't be available because Skipio users can share to one another. So it can't be in use in two different places. So yeah, it would have to be unique. But I actually, the times that I've done it, I haven't run into not being able to come up with something that pertained to the campaign. So it should be easy enough to make a custom one. All right. Well, I just want to say thanks again, everybody, for being with us here today, and we will catch you next Wednesday. Have a good one.
Thank you.